Welcome back to another beautiful episode of Carnage Unleashed. As always, you got Zach, Kev, and Clayton. How you doing today, Clayton?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Finishing up my stuff for the move. I'm wearing my Browns hoodie because I found an old Joe Thomas card that I've been looking for a while today. The Browns would go 4-12, and Joe Thomas would be the Pro Bowl starting left tackle. So I was pretty happy to find that today. Kev, sign the petition. Gotta get after it early, you know.
Yeah. You guys may be surprised I have not signed it already.
Really?
Yeah, I just found out about it. Give me a little bit of time, but yeah, I've got my own little short list of topics for it later in the show, and of course, this petition is one of them. So I'll just leave the rest out as a teaser. Zach, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. At least my allergies aren't kicking my butt today. I'm just happy about that because the last couple of weeks they've been killing me. And I didn't know it was show and tell. If I would have known that, I would have brought some of my cards and been like, "Hey, look at this Greg Maddox card that I've got that I had when I was, when Clayton wasn't alive when this thing was made." So other than that, been great week. Wade, how about yourself, buddy?
It's been good. My wife decided to start a new project, aka me, and sanding down our cabinets so we can repaint them.
Good luck.
Oh, fun stuff. Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing on my days off.
The honey-do list, huh?
Oh, for sure.
Shoot. Well, we've got a special guest with us today, and we'll add him to the stage here. Blake, how are you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing good. Living the dream.
Yeah. Someone's dream, right?
Right. I don't know whose it is. They need to wake up, though.
So you're coming off a fight, and on top of that, you've got 2 fights scheduled and all this stuff. It sounds like you've got yourself a nice busy schedule. How are you doing that? Because I know you were coming off a long period of not fighting for a while. So is that kind of why you're taking a whole bunch of fights now?
Yeah, making up for lost time, trying to get as many in as I can on the road to go pro,
There you go. Yes. Heck yeah. I mean, that's always been Wade and mine's motto. Take as many fights and any fight that comes your way as an amateur, because that's the best learning place to go,
Mm-hmm.
So
now, I just want to, sorry, Zach, but in here, I just want to say, was there a reason why you took such a long break off, or?
I had a son, and I wanted to be there as much as possible, and I didn't see fighting really fitting in at the time, but now that he's a little bit older and I feel like I can get back into it, and he even likes coming out and came to my last 2 fights, and he had a lot of fun, and I'm excited that he's excited.
That's awesome.
That is great.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the son.
Thank you.
Well, how about we take a look at this last fight that you had that your son was excited to watch? Because again, this wasn't a very long fight here.
No.
But let's break down the little bit that we do have. And so, are you're trying to knock off that ring rust here? Not wanting to jump in too soon here.
Yeah, I was. I hadn't been in the cage like you guys said for like 5 years, so I was just trying to feel it out, get back in the swing of it, make sure everything's working properly before I went in.
Okay.
But then he threw a punch, and I saw an opening, and I went for it. Could have been cleaner, but
you just jumped right on him, though.
Yeah, that I didn't hesitate on. I remember one of my earlier fights, I dropped my opponent, and I hesitated to jump on him, and I felt so stupid after doing that. I was like, it's a fight. This is what's supposed to happen. He goes down, you go after him. You finish it up.
That's how you learn, though, right? You learn from experience.
Right.
That's why we take these amateur fights, so you can learn from your mistakes and get better each time.
Exactly.
And so you're doing that ground and pound. I take he wasn't giving you much resistance here at all.
None at all. And I didn't. Later on after this fight, actually, one of my friends came up to me and asked me why I picked him up, and I thought he started standing up. but I guess I just picked him up by his neck. When I go in for the choke, I thought he was standing up and trying to fight, but I guess I picked him up by his neck that whole way.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah, I did not realize that. I thought he was standing up and fighting me, so I was like, we're going back down. But apparently I just picked him up by his throat and slammed him back down for no reason.
Well, you did that, and that was pat from that. I mean, that was the fight, right?
Right.
Yeah, I guess
that's
there's
it.
not much to break down from that.
No, I just overpowered him and ended it quick. It was still fun to get back out there. It's good that I got a fight so I can get back into the cage, and it was everything I hoped for. I actually did a little joke with my friends beforehand. I said it was going to end in round 1 no matter what.
Either you or him, huh?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No matter what. Even if we got to stand there and take turns punching each other, it was going to end in round 1.
See, now that would have been nice to see. I mean, everybody would have loved to have seen that.
Right. 2 heavyweights just trading blows.
Yeah.
Super heavyweight, sorry.
Yeah. Blake, I got to ask,
heavy.
man. When you threw that jab out there, did you think that would be enough to put him down?
Because not in a million years. No.
Yeah.
That's why my other hand came out so quick, is I thought I was going to have to throw another punch to follow it up, at least a 3-part combo. But no, that jab was all it took. It was enough to put him down. I was not expecting that. Like, I knew I had power, but I didn't think I had that kind of power.
Fair enough. I remember sitting there in the commentary table and being like, oh, holy shit, he just put him down with the jab.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what a fight, though, to have to kind of knock off that ring rust. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a great comeback.
And now you've got I have not looked up your opponent. Who is your opponent that you're fighting this weekend? It's like ask you too quick. We can find that information.
Tony Murphy.
There we go. I knew it was Murphy. I just didn't know the first name.
Okay. Have you seen anything about him? What he does? And that.
No.
Get rid of that.
Yeah. No, I haven't done like a game plan against him. I haven't watched any of his footage. I haven't heard much about him. But not to be cocky, but I'm not really worried. I'm actually more excited for this fight than I've been for almost any of my other fights, because in Kentucky, I'm going to be allowed to knee him. I'm going to be allowed to elbow him in the face and all that other fun stuff that we can't do in Ohio. So I'm looking forward to all of that, and I'm excited for that. So I haven't really done much research or homework on him, just because I'm excited. I don't know. Probably not the best game plan, but this is the one I got.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Looking here on Tapology, it looks like he's 0-1. He's 5'10", last weighed in at 272, and lost in the 3rd round by TKO.
Oh.
And that was in October of 24.
Oh, interesting. I'm finding out more information. Okay.
Right. So round 3 TKO. So it sounds like we're big guys. We get tired. So I think round 3, he just kind of gave up and his opponent teed off on him. Not talking shit or anything. It's just, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. That's a 3-minute mark. You're all good.
All right. But yeah, I'm not trying to talk shit on him or anything, but that's how heavy guys are later on as amateurs. In the later rounds, start to get tired, start to make mistakes. It sounds like he just made a mistake in round 3. And if he makes another mistake like that against me, I will exploit it, same as his last opponent did.
Now, do you think that your cardio is better than in most super heavyweights?
Probably, but I'd like to think so. I can throw hands for a long time. I do 4.5-minute rounds on the heavy bag, shadow boxing, jump rope, trying to be as heavy or as fast as I can be for as heavy as I am. So I think my cardio is good, especially for my size.
Are you trying to get down to heavyweight for when you turn pro?
Yeah. After this fight, I'm going back down to heavyweight for my June 28th fight. I will be back down to at least 260 by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't mind me asking where you're at right now?
Just weighed in this morning at 285.
Okay. Yeah, that's easy. That's an easy get down to for that.
Right. So I can get down there and still be able to move. Actually, probably be faster when I get back down to heavyweight.
I mean, and like you said, going down to Nightmare Promotion and in Kentucky, that is the benefit of Kentucky. Is because I'm pretty sure you guys can do head kicks down there too, can't you? As amateurs?
Yeah. As amateurs in Kentucky, it's allowed for head kicks, knees to the head, elbows to the head, all the fun stuff we can't do in Ohio. The only thing we can do in Ohio is punch, which is, I mean, still fun. Don't get me wrong, but there's so much other stuff that you get taught that you can't use.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ohio is a
very safe state.
Yeah, we'll just say that. High on safety. High on safety. That's
very
why
safe.
That's why guys like me at 35 and older have to do extra testing. But you don't have to do that in Kentucky.
Right. You just go down there and throw hands and feet and knees.
and elbows. Don't forget about those elbows.
Yeah, don't forget about the elbow.
I'm sure you're excited to throw some of those if you get on top of them.
I am. Like, there's been a couple of fights I've been in, and I've been in a dominant position, and I was thinking, well, I could really and just start punching instead. My last grappling match, I had to catch myself because I almost punched him, and I was like, I can't do that here.
Blake, I like it.
Right.
Blake, I gotta ask, man, for as big as you are, what is your athletic background before you decided to transition into combat sports? Did you play football in high school or anything like that?
Yeah, in high school, I did shot put and disc for cross country. I did football. I did wrestling. And then before high school, I tried baseball, but it wasn't as fun. But wrestling and football in high school were definitely two more that I did. And it was perfect because right after football season, you get open mats for wrestling. And then you could start wrestling season as soon as that ended. And then that would turn right back into football. So I did that for most of high school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then what made you ultimately decide to transition into MMA from football wrestling?
Well, after I got out of high school, I took a little bit of a break from like sports. I just wanted to hang out. And then I met, I can't remember his name right now. It was another fighter. I met him and his friends, and they lived in the same town as me. And they came over and wanted to put on some boxing gloves and spar. And I was like, well, I've never done that. I'm going to try that. And me and him beat the crap out of each other. And it was really fun. And I know my nose was busted, my eye was hurt, my lips were hurt, but I had a lot of fun. So I got a hold of Gary, who was training this guy at the time. And he said, yeah, I could come in and start training with him. So I did, and just had a great time and stuck with it ever since. Anybody who ever thinks remotely for a second that they want to try any form of combat sports, 100% go and try it. You're going to have a great time.
Yeah, it's such a fun way to stay active, and if you have that competitive itch, you can definitely get in there and unleash some carnage, if you will.
Yeah. Name drop.
Have to.
But you see how a wrestler came in and just wants to throw hands, though, because that's how it should be.
Here we go.
Just throw hands.
Hey, if you could defend a takedown, you would be
If
talking
and buds
so
were
much.
candy nuts, every day be Christmas.
You know what? They'd all have fat asses.
Yes, we would. Yes, we would.
I mean, I kind of do now. I'm 300, almost 300 pounds. I'm a big boy right now.
So you
Can
mentioned
still
that
move
you
a
do heavyweight or heavy bag workouts and stuff. Do you get in and do any sparring?
I have been doing a lot more recently. When I was on my hiatus for like the last year, I started going back to the bag, and that's when I started to feel like that itch come back. And that's when I reached out to Gary again, and he said that I should come back in. And yeah, I'll do bag work, and then I'll try to make it into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym in Ottawa and get some work in there. And then I've sparred a couple times up there as well with just boxing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that the
Good to stay well-rounded.
Is that the Black Market Jiu-Jitsu?
Yes.
Okay. Good place. Good place.
Oh, yeah. Great people, great environment. I've learned a lot from being there the couple of times I've been there so far.
Yeah, do you like jiu-jitsu over wrestling now?
I feel like they're both good. Like, I still like wrestling because it's where I started, but Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really fun, and it's a great thing to learn. And I don't say I like it more, but I like it a lot.
It's probably an easy transition for you too.
Oh, great transition. Yeah.
Zach will do anything to try to get one over on the wrestlers. Just don't mind him.
I don't like wrestlers, okay?
Yeah, every time. He's just like, so what do you think? You definitely like that more than you like wrestling, though, don't you?
So you're just trying to convert everybody.
Yeah, just like, just quit. Enough of that wrestling stuff. But
Let's
talk
do that
about
wrestling.
how you liked started out really with sparring and kind of got back into it from the heavy bag. You also mentioned taking as many amateur fights as necessary to get to that pro level. Are you only going to be looking for MMA bouts? Are you going to get in the mix and do any amateur boxing as part of your approach to get to pro? Have you thought about that at all? I just wondered with your love for throwing hands, if that was going to be something we'd be seeing in the future.
Definitely. I am definitely willing to do boxing matches as an amateur until I go pro. I used to box before I did MMA, loved it, had a bunch of fights, met a bunch of people, made some friends, made some enemies, and it's just work. It's fun. If I can get a couple of boxing matches in too, I'm in. 100%.
Now, Kevin, I'm surprised you didn't ask about kickboxing too.
Well, we don't all have our own agenda every Wednesday.
I do.
Some of us are just here to put on a good show and ask questions. And also, I mean, I would love to call that boxing match. So, we'll start there. And we'll work our way up into kickboxing. How about Muay Thai? No, just saying.
Check every box.
There we go.
If I can get a match in like everything once before I go pro, that would be fun. I'd do it. Just so I can say I did it,
So, Blake, you have talked a lot about turning pro. You're booked for 2 fights now. When can we expect to see you turn pro? Are you thinking by the end of the year? Maybe sometime next year? What are you thinking?
From where I'm standing right now, it'll probably be end of this year, beginning of next year. It's going to be as fast as possible. I'm going to make sure that I get as much done and get as much work in as I can before that happens, but probably end of this year, beginning of next year. Yeah, definitely is going to be soon. Yeah.
And you're still leaning. You mentioned taking boxing fights, but are you still thinking MMA would be your main pathway after that?
Oh yeah. When I go pro, MMA is going to be the main focus. As soon as I'm pro, I'll probably drop boxing maybe altogether and then just straight to MMA. That's where the real fun is. No offense to boxing. I love boxing. It's fun, but MMA.
And I also wanted to ask you, you're currently booked against Donovan Stevens on Carnage Fight Series 2. He made his debut on the last show that you fought on. Did you catch his performance at all?
Which one was that? The heavyweight before me?
Yeah,
the one that fought after me. Did he fight Silva?
Yes.
I did not get to catch that fight. No, unfortunately. After my fight, I went straight back into the room and started changing, getting ready, and then came back out and talked to my opponent for a little bit. I might have caught like maybe 5 minutes of the fight, but not much to go off of for any like homework.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, that would have been smart.
Well, that's all right. We've got you. You can watch it right here whenever you're done, right here on the Carnage Media YouTube channel. Sorry for the plug, boys. I can't resist.
I was going to throw the plug in there if you didn't. So
Clayton and I are well trained.
If you say so. But yeah, I'll definitely check that out after this. Probably as soon as this is done. Actually, I'll go get my people from where they are right now, and then watch that video. We'll all sit down and talk about it. My people's with my family.
I think it's going to be that's going to be an exciting fight. I look forward to being ringside for that one.
Unfortunately, I can't step over the cage. I can step over ropes in a boxing ring, but I can't step over the cage.
You can try. You can climb over it.
Yeah, there you go. I'll climb over it. Don't even open the door. I'll go in over it.
Just if you win, don't get on top of it because that's an instant suspension.
Yeah, I was
so
going to say, is
that
that a fine or a suspension?
That's an automatic 6-month suspension right there.
Really? Yeah, I'm not climbing that.
Yeah,
in America?
Yeah. Yes. Because I was asking Jerry Poe that on the last card, Combate MVP, because somebody jumped on there. He's like, get down before you get it. I'm like, how long is that? He's like, 6 months. I'm like, 6 months.
6 months of climbing.
Wow.
Do you think I'll get penalized if I like peek over it after my fight and I just like look down? Because it comes up to like here.
I was gonna say you're probably taller than the cage anyway. So
yeah. So can't climb it. What about that thing everybody does where they throw their mouth guard? Is that against the rules?
Yes, you can't do that. That is, I forget what it is called, but they will suspend you instantly if they see you throwing it.
You can't. Not doing that either.
But nobody gets suspended when they bleed on the commentary team, huh, Zach? That's rules.
I have
to wear a poncho to work.
I tell them to do it. I'm like, hey, when you bleed, make sure you throw it. See those guys right there with microphones and that? Yeah, throw it that way.
Yeah, hey, if you're bleeding, look for the broadcast table.
Right.
They've already gone through 5 shirts. Make it 6.
Forget coach. 6. Find them. Yeah.
So, Blake, I know you mentioned you dropping down to heavyweight. Do you have like an ideal weight where you want to be sitting around once you go pro? Or you trying to be the heaviest you can be? I'm
definitely going to try and stay as heavy as I can be while still being able to be fast. Like probably no lighter than 250 is probably as light as I ever want to be. 260 is probably as heavy as I ever want to be, though. I don't want to ever get close to missing weight. Mm-hmm. But I still, I want to be as heavy as possible so I can still have as much power as possible.
Okay. And now, since that's your plan to start going down to heavyweight, are you already making a diet plan and doing stuff to get down?
Yes. I started the diet yesterday, and I'm going to try intermediate fasting for a little bit, but I don't know if that's going to help all that much. So, but cut it out, cut down my calories to like 2,300, and I'm going to stick with that until the fight and drop as much as I can. Hopefully not too much. Still want to be heavy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And go from there. And then once I go pro, probably have a more locked in diet plan that's more long term. But for right now, it's just getting the weight back off.
Yep. Fair.
Now, how many fights do you want to get in? So I know you said that you want to be maybe the end of this year or the beginning of next year, but in a perfect world, how many MMA fights do you want to have in by the time? Because you've got 5 fights total now. How many more do you want to add to that before you go to pro?
Well, I got this one this weekend, and then the one in June. So I want to try and maybe get in another MMA fight and a couple of boxing matches so I can really like balance it out, make sure I'm good with striking, good with grappling, make sure everything is fine-tuned as it can be before I go pro. So at least one more after these 2, and then some boxing matches in there.
Okay.
Just so I can have a good roundup,
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll be at. Well, I know I'll be at one of those shows, but I'm hoping to get assigned for one of those boxing gigs too.
Yeah, it's going to be a show.
That's right. I mean, hey, the tape speaks for itself. I don't know if we'll see a one jab knockdown again, but that certainly is great for advertising.
Right. That's good to promote, but it's not really. I hope it don't happen again. Honestly, I was disappointed after that fight. I wanted to get hit at least once. That was my whole mindset. I was like, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to get hit. then everything's going to come back to me and I'm going to be awoken again, like revived. And he didn't hit me once. And I was kind of disappointed. Like, I was looking forward to it.
That's fair, because that'd be part of it too, right? Zach had talked about a little bit about ring rust. Like, part of getting back into the game is taking that first one and then being like, oh yeah, okay, I'm still here. So that makes sense.
So when he didn't hit me, whatever, I had a sparring match like a week after that, and I did get hit. So it's all back now. Everything's back.
Are you one that, like, when you start to get into it, like, you're kind of cold, and then when you get hit, you're like, all right, it's ready. I'm ready to go. I'm locked in now.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys could see it from during my walkout. I had like nothing going on in my head. I was just kind of like zoned out. That's how I usually am. Yeah, I'm just kind of cold and calculated, and then when somebody hits me, I'm like, finally, and then I'm awake, and then I can start actually like fighting, paying attention, calculating, stuff like that. So yeah, as soon as that first hit would have came out, that's when I would have been like, yeah. That's why I know I didn't hesitate when he fell, but I was thinking, how did he fall already? As I jumped on top, I'm like, there's no way he's down already.
It was the cowboy hat that you wore out. That was
yeah.
That's what it was.
What's crazy about the cowboy hat is somebody who came to watch me had brought it. And they're like, hey, I want you to wear this. And I was like, okay. And it actually was great. It worked with every part of what was going on that night. And then the first fight of the night from Garcia's gym, he was wearing a cowboy hat. So afterwards, me and him were shooting the breeze, taking pictures, talking about how cowboy hats bring strength to the fighters and stuff. Because everybody who had a cowboy hat won. I'm not saying it's a coincidence, because it worked. Everybody who had a cowboy hat won. That's all I'm saying.
It boosts power stats by 25%.
Exactly. Everything. Strength, speed, agility, all of it goes up. From one hat. That's a deal I'd take.
Kevin, we need to start getting you cowboy hats then.
Dude, I was just thinking it, the greatest wrestling commentator of all time still wears a cowboy hat, Jim Ross. So there might be something to this here.
Yeah, see, cowboy hats, power.
Well, great. Well, we love that you came to join us. I'm excited to see these next upcoming fights, especially this one you got this weekend. So good luck this weekend down in Kentucky. Hopefully you get to throw many kicks to the head, elbows to the head, knees to the head, anything to the head. Do you have any shout outs, any sponsors, anything like that?
I don't, there's not really much now. Just, I'm excited to be back, and you guys will be seeing more from me.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Well,
We love it.
Well, Blake, we appreciate you taking the time out today to join us, and we'll catch you later.
A mic drop, dude. Yeah, there we go.
You dropped this stuff.
Perfect.
I do agree with you, though. Look forward to calling those upcoming fights, or at least the one that we know of. But that'll bring a lot of excitement to an upcoming amateur boxing card to see him out there throwing those heavy hands. Especially, like you said, we can market it. He's the one punch man. I
can attest.
One gun cowboy.
He does have some power behind the man, and that's when he was lighter. I sparred him one time when I was first getting into the gym, and yeah, he got some power behind his punches.
Wait, you don't have to listen to Zach and start doing these crazy things. Wrestling, you don't have to go in there and spar with heavyweights just to prove a point. We get it.
Come to the dark side.
It makes me have to use my head movement because I don't want to be punched.
Wait, what head movement?
All the head movement.
You don't have any head movement. I mean, jabbed. John Cena, get out of here. We all know you can never be a heel.
We are slowly but surely building to a Kentucky MMA match between our co-founders.
Oh, yeah.
Planting seeds, boys. Just wait for it. Like and subscribe. because you know it's coming.
It's
one of these
if we
days.
can in Kentucky, we're gonna make it a 3-way fight though, because Kevin's got to be in there.
Dude, that's
Wearing the
just
cowboy hat, so
commentary.
he's got plus 25 stats.
You just got to fly us over to Russia, I guess, because that's what they be doing. Don't they do like 5-on-5s?
Yeah, well,
Can I do the
speaking of
special
Russia-
guest referee instead?
Yeah. Speaking of Russia, okay. Well, you guys. What's your thoughts on kids boxing? Because you guys are all right with that, but we can't do kids MMA. Well, Russia. I just saw a video earlier today where they got kids doing MMA now in Russia. I mean, are you surprised though?
MMA should be an Olympic sport. I 100% believe that MMA should be an Olympic sport, and that is why, because people are starting to do it younger and younger. Like, why not? Why not make it an Olympic sport?
Because of the injuries that you can, because you can sustain more injuries from MMA than boxing, though.
But this is America, and I want to see Olympic MMA.
Word.
Well, maybe we can get it voted in for when they come to America in 2028.
Yeah. Well, they just approved flag football, so dude, I saw a meme.
Oh, we're getting there.
Some welder is from Poland is going to be lined up against Justin Jefferson in the next Olympics. Like some
ridiculous, dude. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Kevin's going to be calling those flag football games.
It's gonna
Hey,
be Zach. It's gonna be
I'm
Polish you lining up against like Myles Garrett.
Oh gosh.
I did officiate flag football in college, so I am available for commentary.
Application is out there. Just so you know, the application is out there, guys. Well, moving on, we do have a fight card coming up this weekend, other than Blake's card down in Kentucky. UFC Fight Night. What do we have, boys, for that one?
We have a Wade. I don't know about you, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, yep, I'm kind of happy this is at the Apex because nobody would buy tickets if they saw this.
Yeah, this is kind of a light card, I think, just to get back into things, kind of throw some people that need to be getting a fight and try to move up the chopping block.
Yeah, there's some names on here that some of us hardcore fans might recognize.
Yeah.
The first name, we're just going to start at the bottom and work our way up. Trevin Giles has been around for a while. He's fighting a debuting guy in Andreas Gustafsson. Everybody from Sweden has the last name Gustafsson, right? Like I think that's how that works. But Trevin Giles has been around for a while. He's on a 3-fight losing skid though. One of those losses was to Carlos Prates though. Like it's not like he's out there fighting nobody. So good to see him get back in there. Another name that jumps out at me is Kurt Holloway. He won a season of The Ultimate Fighter a couple years ago. He's 38 as a lightweight, so he's sticking around still.
Yeah.
He's had a little bit of an up and down run since coming back to the UFC, but another fun name to recognize. Look up his fight with Jason Knight on The Ultimate Fighter. That one was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But scrolling on up, Zach Reese at middleweight. He's 8-2. He's been around for a minute now. He's up to 31. But he's a Muay Thai guy. So he has
I like it.
Hard stand-up style. Yeah, he's coming off of a loss to Azamat Bakoyev, but he's one of the better prospects in the UFC right now. So nothing to be ashamed of there. Kind of a quick turnaround, too, after a KO loss, right? Like he's back in 5 months after. That's not crazy.
It's a Zach thing.
It's a Zach.
Yeah. Then we got Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. Dustin Jacoby's been around for a while at this point too, former college football player. He was a quarterback actually in college, weirdly enough, and he transitioned to MMA. Now, if there was a list of positions that I would pick to transition to MMA, I think quarterback would be at the bottom of the list.
What about kicker?
Absolutely.
Kicker?
Yeah, you got me. All right, yeah.
I mean, they're cool. They might have good kicking skills.
I can see Pat McAfee up in here.
I would
just talking smack. All he would be doing is talking smack.
Kicking and punting, quarterback, then like everybody else.
Yeah.
I think a linebacker would be at the top of that list though. Like
Oh,
sure. I don't know. I'd take an offensive lineman pretty up there. I feel like those big. I don't know. They might be too big. Honestly,
that's what I'm saying. Like
most of them are
your average
300+
offensive, your average NFL offensive lineman is like what 320 probably minimum.
But you see, like I think they do that on purpose. They know they have to be that big because, like, when you see when they retire, though, they cut down and they're like freaking jacked.
Yeah, like example, I pulled out a Joe Thomas card at the start of this. I'm gonna look up his weight right now. He cut he was up to 312. He's already down to 270, and he's looking to get back down to 250.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you could do that, and any football player realistically can make the transition, right? If you really put your mind to it, the athletic base is there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then just scrolling on up, Mateusz Gamrot making his comeback against Ludovic Klein, maybe? Is that how you say that?
You're asking me?
Gamrot has a really fun fight with Dan Hooker in his last time out. Ended up losing a very close split decision. I saw it for Dan Hooker too, but that's one guy's opinion. Another intriguing lightweight prospect, kind of do or die for him now, right? Like he's 24-3. He's 34 though, so he's starting to get to that point, and lightweight is stacked. Like if he's gonna try and make a run at the title, he needs to start now.
Yeah.
And then that brings us up to the main event: Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. Yeah, two rising flyweights. I really like this fight personally.
I do too.
Macy Barber's 9-2 in the UFC. She's not a finisher, is kind of my only dig here, I guess. So I'd have to give the edge a little bit to Blanchfield just because she has a little bit better wrestling, but good fight. This is the kind of, like I said, this entire show is the kind of show I would expect to headline an Apex event.
Yeah.
So it sucks to see, but like at the same time, I would rather have this show than nothing at all, personally.
Good to have on a Saturday, back
exactly. Like people who say, "Oh, the UFC does too many shows," that's not true. That is simply not true. If you want to grow the sport and give people jobs, you have to hold shows, right? Like you have to have events for people to fight on. Yeah, this isn't a great card to your casual fan, but like crazy head kick knockouts happen in Apex shows. Like it does happen. We've seen many a time some dude from Dagestan get ragdolled by some American guy, represent, and completely throw a crazy right hand over the top and knock him out.
It's the proving grounds. You know what I mean? It's where to make a statement, to try to build a name for yourself is what this is.
Oh, for sure.
One of my favorite MMA fights of all time is Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. That was an Apex show. That was either the week before or the week after UFC fight or International Fight Week. So like that, people like, oh, it's Sean Strickland's main event at the Apex. Well, that was like short notice Sean. Short notice Sean is one of the mythical MMA guys. Like he didn't care. He got the crap kicked out of him for a round and then came out in the second round and finished him. Like one of my favorite fights ever. I just great stand up all around. Very fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, just for your casuals, this is not big star studded people, but like if you love MMA, anything can happen in MMA, no matter if they're big star names or not.
Exactly.
So
people forget that these are the best MMA athletes in the world. Like no matter what, you could say what you want. There's a couple of the only real exception now that I can think of outside of the UFC is Johnny Eblin. Maybe Johnny Eblin could beat DDP, and he's not in the UFC right now.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I look at the PFL champs and I'm like, guys, I don't think that there's a single PFL champ right now that could beat, with the exception of maybe Francis Ngannou at heavyweight, who could beat a UFC champ.
Yeah.
Maybe a CM Punk.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, never mind. That's my bad, guys. I screwed
You
up.
have a wrestling belt right now.
Somebody should study the fall of CM Punk. That needs to be a 30 for 30, I think. Why did we get That was back when I think they still disclosed purses then, and he made like $500,000 both times he got into the octagon.
And just got wrecked.
Yeah,
worth it. I mean, I step in the ring, get
Good work
demolished
if
for
you can
that.
get it. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. If somebody walked up to me in the street right now and was like, "Hey, you have to fight Tom Aspinall, but we'll give you $500,000 if you just get in there," like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I don't know of very many people out there who aren't gonna do that. To be completely honest,
I've gotten concussions for a lot less. So
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
More.
I paid money to get concussions, like playing clip sports.
Yep.
So speaking of that, okay, what this petition that you guys are talking about? You talking about the stripping of John Jones of his belt because he's ducking?
I mean, for me, it needs to happen. It needs to be stripped or he needs to fight because it's ridiculous. If it was anybody else, the belt would have been already gone.
Unless it's McGregor.
Yep.
I'm watching.
That's the other one.
I've been watching this since we've logged on. I pulled it up. It's gotten over 1,000 signatures just in the last hour. We're up to
So where are we at?
126,465 signatures.
Wow, it's gone up 13,000 since I looked last. Yeah, 126,000 folks agree that John Jones should be stripped of his belt. Now, Daniel Cormier says he is not one of the signatures. We'll see.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
But he did say on a podcast, he said on a podcast what we have all been saying for some time now, and he genuinely thinks it's because John can see himself getting knocked out by Tom Aspinall, and that's why the fight won't happen, because he knows it's a possibility. And it's kind of poetic for a guy who made his name among other fights, but as a guy who was the younger, stronger fighter in a lot of his fights, for him now to be ducking that opportunity to be in the other role, it's just there's something Shakespearean about it. But yeah. Look for Daniel Cormier's email on that petition. I'm sure he's in there somewhere once or twice, but I have not signed it yet either. If I get around to it, I certainly agree with it. I don't know that this petition will do anything. If the UFC had any good reason, or in their own mind a good enough reason, they'd have done it by now, I would think. So I believe that at this point they are. Dana White is essentially standing out in the rain, holding his boombox outside of John Jones's window, just playing "Baby Come Back" on repeat until he can get one more fight out of him.
Well, I saw somebody said today, I think it was John Anik actually, it was Kenny Florian who said at this point it would do more harm to the UFC than John Jones to strip him, right? Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
So you're saying it would do more harm to strip him of it?
Yeah, because then he really doesn't have to fight, right? And that's just going to be another event that they would lose, right? And he doesn't need at this stage in his career, he doesn't need to walk out there in black and gold trunks. He doesn't need it. He's made his money.
True.
He could ride off into the sunset now. I think he's doing this just because he can, really. Like, you know what I mean? I think that he probably has a venue in mind, which is probably T-Mobile Arena in Vegas or going back to MSG. Taxes might play a factor in that. Personally, I would never fight the state of New York, but hey, that's one guy's opinion. I think that he's just kind of waiting it out. He's going to wait it out as long as possible because I think, like you kind of said, Kev, at this point, if the UFC wanted to strip him, they would, and they haven't done it yet. So we'll see. This fight needs to happen. Bottom line.
I think that it's also probably a strategic move by the UFC as well, because obviously they're in talks of a new contract for streaming or anything like that. What's the biggest fight everybody wants to see? They want to see John Jones versus Aspinall. So they can say, hey, we got this fight. It's gonna happen.
Speaking of that, I saw today that ESPN Plus is starting to delete certain fight nights off of their viewing. Like, you can go back and watch some UFC fight nights, and they've started taking some off.
Oh,
when does that contract end? Like, officially? Like, when is
End of 2025 is when it's
okay?
up.
Okay, so what you're telling me is we won't see a John Jones-Tom Aspinall fight until 2026.
If you see it.
It's
If.
possible.
If.
Realistically, they're not going to wait until December to ink a new deal. You wouldn't want to do that because you're going to need some time for a transition. So I would think realistically, it's 4 or 5 more months. And at that point, somebody will have had, like, they will have to have made a deal. They're not going to go month to month on pay-per-view contract, right? I assume they're either going to re-up with ESPN or they're going to know, and maybe they'll play it close to the vest for a while. But I think before the start of the fourth quarter, we would probably know where they're going to be streaming in the future.
Well, would it be such a bad thing? I mean, Clayton doesn't think so, but you think it would be such a bad thing that they go back to just a straight pay-per-view like they used to, where it's not on ESPN, it's not anything, it's just a pay-per-view until they find the right deal. And then so they're going to be cutting back on some of their fights at that, or how many fights they do. It'd be back to almost that once a month kind of ordeal that they're at instead of week to week.
That's going to be such a pay cut, though, because doesn't ESPN pay them a flat fee for every show regardless, and then it's
Something
on ESPN
like
to make the ticket sales or the paper. So they're getting paid no matter what. So then it becomes your operating costs just are going to be impacted big time. So I don't know. I mean, it's absolutely yes, that's a viable short-term option. If push came to shove, they could do that. I think what they'd much rather have is an interested buyer, somebody, again, who wants content for their streaming service is the most likely opinion to me, because then they're also going to want all of those old fights and all of that stuff. They're going to want to bring the hub over. And so therefore, I do think it ends up going somewhere. But, I mean, they still might end up going back to a pay-per-view route. This is a very weird scenario. I don't know how long it lasts, but one of the few companies of relatable size that does monthly pay-per-views is the often maligned AEW. We like to have fun at their expense occasionally on this program, but they have a deal with Warner Brothers. They are on Max, but you still have to buy their pay-per-views. And at this point, there's about 12 different places you can buy them. You can buy them on Amazon Prime. You can buy them on YouTube. Essentially anywhere that you could think to download or either buy a movie, rent a movie, buy a pay-per-view, they're there. So throughout the week, you're watching their stuff on Max, but for the pay-per-view, you got to go somewhere else. It's not outside of the realm of possibility for the UFC to do something similar and say, hey, we're going to get in contract with you for our fight nights. You're going to get content every single week, because I think it's more realistic that somebody would give you $20 a month for something like that. But then when you're asking folks to do that, and then it's all still $120 for that one pay-per-view a month, I feel like that's where you start to lose people. But you could get somebody on the hook to say, hey, we're going to do all of the fight nights and any of the, historical stuff, all of that on your streaming service. And then we're going to have pay-per-view and just go back to pay-per-view. It's just that, I don't know, they might be considering they can get an ESPN-esque deal again. I don't know if that's going to be in the cards, but I didn't expect Netflix to pay billions to the WWE. Now, did I? So shows what I know.
Well, watch out, because you never know. Elon Musk has a lot of money. He likes to buy random things. He might buy something and start.
Can you imagine if we just saw the Tesla logo in the middle of the octagon now instead of Musk?
I don't think Kevin would be happy,
dude. I would actually love that, because that flame out would be epic. He could not handle, dude. He can't handle regular Twitter folks. He's not going to stand up to a UFC, like the MMA fans. No shot, dude. This guy, he doesn't have the juice. You know
how quiet and normal people are. Like, even at the shows we work, people are quiet, people are respectful. We definitely don't see beer cans flying every once in a while.
Can you imagine him having to do the Dana White post-show interviews for every pay-per-view?
No.
Dude.
No. How can a dude
good question. You're a jerk.
Yeah, how can a dude who's that smart handle some of the journalists we have in this sport. Like, you know what I mean? His brain would just crash. It just would not work.
Be entertaining for us at least.
Dude,
That's true. It'd be kind of funny on Twitter afterwards, but like, man, we're just in such a weird place with MMA right now. We're looking for a new streaming deal. The heavyweight champion doesn't want to fight. And on top of that, we have no face of the UFC right now, I would argue. It was arguably, debatably Alex Pereira before this, but he's not a champion right now. They tried to manufacture Sean O'Malley into a star. He's not a champion right now. We are in a faceless era of MMA, which is really interesting for a company that's looking to ink a new broadcasting deal.
I think they do Ilya if he wins at lightweight.
That's true. And I like the Charles Oliveira match there is very interesting because for those of you who tune into the pay-per-views, Amin L often talks about he's fought in boxing from 147 all the way up to 160. He said, 160, I'm slower, but like I feel better and I'm way more powerful. And Charles is chinny. Like Charles can get dropped. Michael Chandler dropped him. Justin Gaethje dropped him. Dustin Poirier dropped him. Like it's possible. It is possible to drop Charles Oliveira. And we've seen the only hand that's cracked the chin of Max Holloway is Ilya. So it's going to be very interesting to see if that power translates up a weight class where guys are bigger, guys are faster, but the guy that they've put in front of him doesn't exactly have an iron chin.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
And then he needs to win the belt and defend it in Spain so I can go.
Yes.
Oh.
You just want more things in Europe.
What? Hell yeah, dude.
Don't we all?
The moment that the UFC comes back to Germany, like cage side seats, we're gonna make it work.
Are you telling me that we should fly to Germany and hang out with you for a little bit?
What? Heck yeah! I'll have an air mattress and some couches. We'll be good to go.
That's
not.
I'll bring my own
air
air mattress. I'll bring my own air mattress. It's okay. Wade, you can have his.
I'm not too good for your air mattress.
Isn't it a waste to carry on spot on an air mattress? Dude, that's
That'd
a
be so
10-hour flight, man. You can bring your own bed.
Clayton, I have a question for you though.
Watch me.
Have you watched the first episode of The Ultimate Fighter?
I have not. The Ultimate Fighter is almost dead to me. I'm sad to say, but after this episode, I am going to watch it. Chael Sonnen versus DC is the coaches this year. They host a podcast together, so
20th year.
Yeah, and I said a couple days ago on the podcast, I can't imagine that like the Ultimate Fighter will ever be as entertaining as it once was. Guys actually
not when
care.
you book friends as coaches instead of people who are in the like. They used to at least find guys who kind of didn't like each other, so there was an additional spice to the back and forth, the competition. These guys will do a show together. That's damn near wrestling. Any argument we see is going to be kayfabe. You know, it's going to be what's Chael going to do a throwback to I can't let you get close, or you know.
Yeah, the original recipe for the show, right? Where you're showcasing new guys on reality television, which was popular in the mid-2000s. We're showcasing these new guys. We're going to follow them around, see what they're like, get to know them. End of the year, they fight for a 6-figure contract with the UFC, which was the only way to make money in MMA back in the day. And then the coaches fight. That is not the formula anymore. Oh, yeah, and by the way, we have an entire fully stocked bar at all hours of the day. That's just not going to happen anymore. Again, the guys that they're bringing into the show are like actual martial artists.
Oh, yeah.
They're
I watched the first episode. And I think it's going to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be because of DC and Chael are such talkers. And in the first episode, DC being DC, he's just trolling. And it's kind of funny. I liked it. And, I mean, it's great fights, too, because these guys, I think in the first fight, it's the current LFA world champ fighting the other number one fighter that was in the UFC but then got dropped. So that was the first fight. So, I mean, it's really high-level fighting, and I enjoyed it. So
the fighting in and of itself is definitely better. Like the fights at the end of every part of the show are definitely better. But like the entertainment. It depends on if you're trying to make an MMA show, if you're trying to make TV.
Yeah.
I don't really think that they've really ironed out which direction they want to go. Because they still like, when guys are like, I don't like you, like they still try and like play that up like it's actually going to matter. Whereas like you don't have guys getting their heads smashed into concrete like back in the old days.
Just hit me.
Let me bang, bro.
Gosh, let me bang, bro. I can't let you get close. Gosh, that is
Rampage ripping the door apart.
Oh my gosh, that's favorite. That might be my favorite moment in the entire show.
Yes.
Like, for those of you who might not know, the background, Rampage's team was just getting destroyed, right? Like they hadn't won a fight yet.
Yeah,
and he's walking away. He like headbutts the door, throws it down, then like kicks a hole through it, like tears the entire thing off the hinges. And Dana afterwards goes, well, if anything, that just shows how cheap our production is, because like look at how bad our doors are. And that was a really fun season of The Ultimate Fighter. Roy Nelson was on that season.
Yep.
Brendan Schaub was on that season.
Yep.
Kimbo Slice made an appearance on that season.
Dude,
he got redeemed that season too.
That season. Oh my god, dude!
Now it was watching him like try and like interact with like actual MMA guys. I say actual MMA guys as if there weren't like former football players in there, but like seeing him interact with all of them was like kind of fun because his ground game is terrible, but like obviously in boxing sparring he could kind of hold his own.
Mm-hmm.
He had power. Power.
He was your classic, for the love of God, don't get taken down, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yep. That sounds like somebody I know. Well.
Yeah, but my stand-up was better. Might not have the power, but my stand-up was better.
I think you can take him today.
Hard spoiler alert. I cannot believe that.
Is it because he's 6 feet under?
What?
Oh, I was talking about Brendan Schaub. Who are you talking about?
I thought you were Kimbo Slice. I thought you were talking about Kimbo. I was like, is it because he's 6 feet under?
I mean, also, yes, I do like your odds against Kimbo today.
Why?
That's just like a Paul brother matchup right there, man. That's like a Paul brother matchup. And speaking of Paul brother, did you guys ever check out his show that aired, March 27th?
No, I'm not watching.
No, dude, I have some self-respect.
I figured Kevin was the first person to watch that. He was the first cued in to watch.
You were just refreshing your laptop screen over and over, just waiting for it.
Finally got me HBO Max. I finally got a subscription.
Oh shoot! Well, boys, let's end with everyone's favorite segment here, the Wrestling Minute. I'd like to hear Kevin go on his rant of what's been kind of going on a little bit here in the wrestling world. Anything fun, Kevin? Anything fun, exciting?
It's more like the business minute today because in the world of wrestling right now, as far as the action in between the rings, in between the ropes, it kind of not great. Not a big fan of anything going on in WWE world, but it's a fitting discussion, something we talk a lot about on this program is the business side of things, and with WWE being the other half of TKO, and there also being a recurring theme of ticket sales and pricing out your core audience and doing some very short-sighted business decisions that will probably hurt you badly in the long run. Just a couple of months after bringing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson out on an episode of Raw on Netflix while in New Orleans to announce that next year's WrestleMania would in fact be in New Orleans. They have rescinded that offer, and wouldn't you know it, the WWE WrestleMania is right back to Las Vegas for next year, gang. So not a lot of great things to be said about that. I mean, at this point, it is acknowledged. WWE fans have been worried about this for a long time, really ever since the Saudi shows began. It was sort of, at that point, it was only a matter of time before the big four, those major events were just available to the highest bidder. And your average fan would have almost zero chance of ever seeing a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble ever again in their lives. Well, we are here now, so welcome. You are here. Not only do we have larger events going in overseas? But now we have the potential to have WrestleMania be a Vegas only event because when you think about it, these ticket sales, they price out the locals anyway. If you look at WrestleMania prices for like the last WrestleMania, or like look at SummerSlam, for instance, to get a front row seat is like $4,000, $5,000. To get the nosebleed seats that you can't see anything except through the Jumbotron, those are $300 to $400 seats now.
Serious
for just B shows. Like, we're not even always talking necessarily about the major pay-per-views, and just imagine how much more expensive the major pay-per-views are. People going to just regular SmackDown and Raw tapings are paying almost $200 for nosebleed seats. So the only places that can actually float those kind of prices are your destination cities. So it makes sense from an awkward point of view, from a very C-suite CEO point of view, to say, well, just have it in Vegas all the time. It's already a vacation place. We can add these into comp plans for our high rollers and all this stuff. And no longer will it matter because the casual fan can't come anyway. It's only somebody who's got, especially it's a 2-night event. So, you're going to pay $4,000 to watch one night of it? No, you're going to pay $12,000 and be there for the whole weekend and all this crap. So, guys, for something that started out as literally a carnival-esque lifeblood, lower middle class, working class America, like that is what, maybe not just America, but wrestling started as something for the people. You take your family out to the local indie show, it's $15 for a ticket, and now they expect those same people to go and pay $5,000, and then the product's not great. But that's a conversation for another day. But what are your guys' thoughts on pulling an event that you use the biggest name in your business to promote? Like, how can anyone ever believe whatever they say? Again, this has to impact future pre-sale tickets. Why the hell would I pay for an event 6 months ahead of time if there's a chance, there's no guarantee it's actually going to be there? So forgive my rant. What do you guys have any thoughts on this?
That just makes me hate The Rock more.
Hate The Rock more, yes.
I agree with you 100%. We're seeing the same thing happen in MMA too. This is traditionally, wrestling and MMA are same thing. It's traditionally like a more working class sport. It's not something that you'll see like people, or at least used to be, people in LA wanting to do. Like, that wasn't the audience. That wasn't the people who loved it. And ever since, I've noticed this, ever since TKO went public, they've done nothing but want to increase the stock price. And that is the problem with having a public company. No, but you do not care about the fans. You care about the stock price. That is the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Nothing else matters. As long as the stock price continues to go up, we're still selling record gates, even though the average ticket for like any numbered UFC show is, like you said, Kev, it's like $500 for nosebleed seats now. Like, that's
that's the only way they can set those records.
Yeah.
Just keep
and
up
there's
in the
people,
price.
and people have been criticizing MMA crowds online a lot recently. Like, that's a topic after almost every live show. Oh, the crowd was terrible. Well, when you have people like example, throw out just any random celebrity that you see, they don't know the flyweights that are fighting on the prelims. Whereas guys like us know. Like, I know.
Yeah.
Example, if Kurt Holloway opened a fight night card, like a live fight night, I would bet 90% of the people would have no idea that he even won the Ultimate Fighter. I would be willing to put money on that. And because of that, you're not going to have people that are as into it for early shows, for early fights. Turn on any pay-per-view. It was Theo Von made this super famous like 2 months ago. He was at a pay-per-view show by himself. He was literally the only guy in the celebrity section for the opening fight. And I remember watching the show and looking back and being like, I swear that's Theo Von just chilling back there. And lo and behold, yeah, it was.
Yep.
Like, you're pricing out hardcores essentially. And that's going to damage your sport long-term, no matter what.
I agree.
going to be crippling. All I got to say, boys, is you'd better hope that Netflix isn't the one to make that deal with the UFC, because wrestling's becoming unbearable. Every other segment is, oh, hey, Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura are here. I am tired of watching Netflix try to peddle its subpar comedy tour fucking hour. They've got every B-list comedian that's ever drawn breath in the United States showing up to every Monday Night Raw to pitch some bullshit, half-baked, half-hour special that nobody's going to watch anyway. So leave it, knock it off, leave it alone. This is not your audience. You think wrestling fans are here for freaking Tony Hinchcliffe ads? No, they already told you once they didn't want it. You bring them back. You're so stupid. Stop it. I just imagine every celebrity that's getting some bullshit check from Netflix being there in between. Instead of tail of the tape, it'll be, and here's Gilbert Godfrey to sell you his new fucking...
If they did that over a tail of the tape, I would lose my mind. I would
that's
probably
awful.
turn it off. Like,
yeah.
what happened? Like I said,
funny.
the moment they went public, it just fans don't matter anymore. Money does.
Mhm.
It's so stupid. And the last people who should ever be making decisions for a business are the shareholders.
Yes.
I say this as a shareholder. I have, nobody, I don't work there. All right. I have put a little bit of money into it to play the game, which is a game. It's the same as putting some money into the casino. The only difference is you're trying to play the market and see where the trends are, but I should have no fucking impact. Of course, every shareholder wants to only see profit. Well, that's not how business works. And anybody who thinks it is shouldn't be making any kind of business decisions. They might not be able to live alone, to be honest. Like, that's not how things work. Wait till you tell them about bills.
Yeah.
And this is why folks at Carnage Media and Carnage Fight Series will take private.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's right. That's right.
Correct.
I don't care what you want us to do for a show, because you bought in for $3 so you can listen into a quarterly call. I don't give a shit.
We will continue to provide quality entertainment at reasonable prices.
Absolutely.
It's facts. Facts.
It's just so irritating as a fan. Like, they just don't care.
It is.
Like, am I saying that you'll turn people, like, you're gonna turn casual fans off from wanting to watch it? Like,
Or go.
Yeah, they'll take their time. Like, I hate to break it to you, on the East Coast, not everybody's even making it to a 10 p.m. pay-per-view main event start time. Like, we've all been there. We've all had nights that get away from us downtown, and it's like, well, I need to go home now, and I'm not going to stay up to watch this show. And everything starts on American time now, which really sucks. Because, like, when they go over to the UK and have title fights over there, they start at 5 a.m. UK time. What the hell? Why? Why are we doing this?
You should be playing to your audience that's there, not the pay-per-view audience.
Correct.
I mean, you really should, because you want to fill the stadiums, you want to fill the seating up.
Yeah,
you want to have that atmosphere.
Well, that's
if you want to go back and watch
fans, it's an experience.
If you want to
like,
look
how
for
many
TV,
of us love sports because we went to a game? Like, I'm a Pacers fan because my mom took me to a game and I saw Reggie Miller do some crazy shit when I was 8 years old. Right? Lifelong fan.
Yeah.
Cater to them a little bit. Sorry.
Yep.
No, I agree.
When people get away from wanting to create an in-person experience, which COVID is, I think, partially to blame for that, but it's been 5 years. We can rebound by now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We're just getting further and further away. It's becoming harder and harder as a regular fan to, one, go to an event in person. Two, when you do go to an event in person, you're not going to see anything. So, like, you might as well just stay home, crack a beer on your couch, and get a better view than you would at the atmosphere anyway, because the atmosphere is going to be no different at my house than it is at the show.
Yeah, and you'll have to drive home at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. if you
I'm going to wait through all that traffic.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted to go to a UFC event. I've never been to one. And now it's kind of like, can I afford it?
If you took out a second mortgage, maybe.
I mean, I almost have to use my vacation money to go and do that instead of going to a nice tropical beach where I'm spending, for a week's worth. I'll just have to spend it for a weekend at the UFC.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you do that? I'm not seeing a problem here.
Wait, I'm confused. Of
Hey,
going
relax,
to the beach or
Dana.
going to the UFC.
Yeah. Meanwhile, oh my God. Yeah, I'm with you guys there. There's going to be a reckoning. We will probably all have front row seats to some kind of trend. I don't want to be too dramatic or speak too ill. Obviously, we all want to see. Well, I want to see both do very well. I know some of us can give or take wrestling, but we all want MMA to be as healthy as possible. But I just don't see how there isn't a big blowback from this. If this trend continues, you're going to lose a whole generation of fans.
Yeah.
And ask baseball about how long it can take to get a fan base back. Like they kind of have been cell phones, believe it or not, like are bringing baseball back. It's a whole conversation about aspect ratio we won't talk about today, but it's pretty wild that baseball has made a comeback. It's pretty nerdy to talk about, but yeah, what's going to be that thing if in a world where everybody is fighting really hard for your audience's attention and they want it 24 hours out of the day, can you really afford to price out a whole generation of fans and then wait years to course correct and then try to bring people in when, again, as Clayton mentioned, there is no face, there is no big name. Like you could maybe get away with this stuff if you had during the Conor and Ronda days, like during that, like, okay, I could see you getting away with it for a while, but it's just this perfect storm of having your biggest name hiding. What's he doing? He's doing like
Cocaine.
Tough Australia or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He's doing cocaine on
doing.
a show set somewhere. And meanwhile, the prices are going up. It's not a great combination.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's going to be a turning point for sure. I mean, kind of look at it as like TV. TV prices kept going higher, higher, and higher. Then streaming came along, and pretty much everybody switched over. Like, hey, I can just for $20, I can get Netflix, all this, and be in my home and not have to worry about paying $100 a month for TV. Now streaming's going
Now
crazy.
streaming's doing all that.
Yeah,
People are bundling things and calling it cable.
So now there's going to be some kind of correction.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how the UFC overcomes and survives this. So, and the WWE, because both of them are one and the same at this point. So,
yeah,
See?
that's right.
well,
I think that wraps up for this week's episode. Clayton, where can I find you?
You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Skulina12. For the rest of you hardcores out there, I will be watching the fights this weekend, so don't be afraid to throw a tweet my way. Kev, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me over on Bite Size Sports, but I also, here in about 12 minutes, will be going live talking Star Wars on Dweeb. So if you are a nerd like me, I will see you there real soon. Zach, what about you, sir?
right here on Carnage Unleashed on Carnage Media on YouTube. You can also catch, well, not necessarily me, but you can catch these two lovely guys, Kev Nevik and Clayton Skulina, on some of our past shows. You can go and check those out at carnagemediappv.com, where we'll have all our upcoming shows here coming soon, just like Carnage Fight Series 2 in Sandusky, June 28th. And just so everybody knows, we're going to have another Carnage Fight Series 3 in August 23rd. And keep your eyes out for Carnage Fight Series 4, which is going to be the all-amateur card sometime right after that down the line. What is that supposed to be, like October 4th, I believe, is what we've agreed on. So we have a couple of things already slated out for Carnage Fight Series. If you're a fight fan, you like the local stuff, we got it for you. We're going to bring it to you, and I'm excited for it. Wade.
Absolutely. So whatever you just said, I'm going to repeat it.
Times two.
CarnageMediaPPV.com if you want to stay up to date for all of our fight action throughout the months, as well catch any past action on our YouTube page here. So like and subscribe, and you guys have a good night.